Novak Djokovic had never lost to a teenager, not once. 18 meetings, 18 wins. And when he took the first 2 sets, his career record from that position was 301 wins and just 1 loss. Then came Friday, May 29th, Paris. A match that began in 90-degree heat and by sundown had become something else entirely. For 6, 6-3, 7-5, 7-5. A 19-year-old from Brazil, 2 sets to love down, turned the whole thing around. And on the very last game, 3 consecutive aces. 15,000 people inside Court Philippe-Chatrier rose to their feet at once. This wasn't just an upset, this was the sound of an era closing. Novak Djokovic, 24-time major champion, was knocked out in the 3rd round of a major by the world number 30, the 28th seed, 19-year-old João Fonseca. And with that one result, the 2026 French Open is now guaranteed a first-time major champion. Because Djokovic was the last man left in the draw who had ever lifted a major trophy. The opening 2 sets were vintage Djokovic. At 39, he dictated every point, and Fonseca looked overwhelmed. 2 sets to love. Class is permanent. Good effort, kid. Get him next time. 2 sets down to Djokovic. It's over. Experience wins these every time. But from the 3rd set, everything changed. Fonseca started driving Djokovic behind the baseline with a brutal serve and forehand, and in the heat, the veteran's legs began to give. Djokovic fought on, through an on-court vomiting spell and an apparent hand cramp. Wait, is Djokovic actually getting pushed back right now? Dragging a 39-year-old to 5 sets in this heat, don't bet against the kid. 4th set, serving at 3-4, 15-40, Fonseca was 5 points from losing the match. He saved both break points and forced a decider. 5 points away, and he saves it, at 19? In the final set, Djokovic surged to a 3-1 lead. It looked finished. But Fonseca took 6 of the last 8 games, broke back for 5 all, then moved ahead 6-5. Look at this kid's eyes. He's not nervous. Absolute chills. Serving for the match, Djokovic carved out a breakpoint to 4-6 all, and Fonseca answered with 3 straight aces. Each one painting the line, the roar swelling louder, until the final ball dropped and the court detonated. Fonseca collapsed into his chair in disbelief. For hours and 53 minutes, the longest match of Djokovic's entire Roland-Garros career. Closed it out on 3 aces? Under that pressure, he's not human. 2 sets down, against Djokovic, at 19. This makes no sense. Forget the score, these are the numbers that matter. 1. Fonseca is the first teenager ever to beat Djokovic at a major. Djokovic had a perfect record against teenagers. For almost 2 decades, young players hurled themselves at that wall and shattered. Today, it fell. First time in my life I've seen Djokovic lose to a teenager, which means we all just got old. 2. It's only the 2nd time in his entire career that Djokovic has lost after winning the first 2 sets. The first time was also in Paris, back in 2010, 16 years ago. 3. For the first time since 2009, Djokovic failed to get past the 3rd round at Roland-Garros. On this court, he's won the title 3 times, reached for finals, for semi-finals, 5 quarter-finals. That Djokovic packed his bags on day 6. 4. And the most symbolic record of all, for the first time since the Open era began in 1968, not a single former major champion remains in the men's round of 16. This tournament was strange from the very start. First, Carlos Alcaraz couldn't play at all, a wrist injury. Then the top seed and last year's runner-up, Jannik Sinner, crashed out in the 2nd round to the 56th-ranked Juan Manuel Cerundolo. In that moment, a lot of people thought the same thing. The highway to a 25th major had just opened up for Djokovic. No Alcaraz, no Sinner, one former champion left standing, a 39-year-old. The stage looked set, as if by fate, for history. But no one told Fonseca. The Big Three era of Djokovic, Nadal, and Federer, the Alcaraz and Sinner era that followed, and today, neither is in the round of 16. As one outlet put it, this match may be remembered as a defining changing of the guard moment in modern tennis. This year, the French is, truly, open like never before. Here's the key point: a lot of people want to file this under the old lion finally fell. The experts saw it differently. Andy Roddick, former world number 1 and 2003 US Open champion, pushed back hard against that lazy narrative on his podcast. His argument, the laziest take out there is, young guy beats the fading veteran. And sure, time is undefeated. Everyone fades eventually. But this match wasn't that. Then he brought the numbers. Djokovic landed 71% of his first serves. He hit 70 winners against 39 unforced errors. He defends the second serve as well as anyone alive, and he still lost. Roddick's verdict was blunt. Djokovic did absolutely nothing to beat himself. Fonseca was simply better. And here's the remarkable part. The loser said exactly the same thing. Djokovic admitted he hadn't done much wrong, his opponent was just better. In Serbian, he praised Fonseca's courage and the level he found when it mattered most. So this isn't, Djokovic lost because he got old. It's, Fonseca won because he raised his level. And that distinction is what makes this result so much heavier. 15,000 people, packed in, at the heart of them, Brazilian fans wrapped in green and gold. Even 2 sets down, they never stopped. And when that final ace landed, all of it turned to pure euphoria. And the applause reached the loser, too. Djokovic waved, drew a heart with his hands, and the crowd rose as one to send him off. Djokovic clapping for him, the whole crowd standing. I cried. Real champions know how to lose. Sinner gone, Alcaraz injured, Djokovic out. Who is writing the script for this French Open? When it was over, a trembling Fonseca spoke in his on-court interview. What an idol they have, he said, that it was a privilege just to step onto the court with him. He thanked Djokovic, he wished his mother, watching in the crowd, a happy birthday. He thanked every Brazilian who showed up. And one line summed up the whole night. By the end, he said, Djokovic somehow looked fresher than he did. We still think he's 20. From a 19-year-old to a 39-year-old, that's about the highest compliment there is. Djokovic's future. He left the court waving, drawing a heart with his hands. In his press conference, he appeared to fight back tears. Asked whether he'd be back here next year, his answer was just 2 words. I don't know. He's hinted at retirement for years without ever naming a date. A shoulder injury wiped out most of his spring, and he came to Paris with only 2 tournaments behind him since the Australian Open final. Even so, he had few regrets about his level. He felt he'd done all he could. Was this his final Roland-Garros? Nobody knows, but that standing ovation was a goodbye, just in case. Fonseca's road ahead. The 19-year-old has reached the second week of a major for the first time in his career. Next up, 2-time Roland-Garros finalist Casper Ruud. Win that, and a quarterfinal is waiting. He'd already beaten Andrei Rublev at 18, at last year's Australian Open. Today, he beat his idol. And this was his second straight 5-set comeback from 2 sets to love down. Brazil has waited a long time for a superstar in men's tennis. Maybe today was the day that wait began to end. Sport holds a truth that is both cruel and beautiful. Time is undefeated. Every king eventually steps down from the throne, and somewhere, always, someone hungry for that seat is growing up. What we watched today wasn't simply a veteran's defeat, it was one era handing the baton to the next. For 6, 6-3, 7-5, 7-5. One day, we may look back at this scoreline and say, that was the day a new era began. If you enjoyed this, hit subscribe and like. I'll see you in the next one.